Hi there, my name is Wendy. I'm so excited that you've joined me today. Today is my Thursday video that's dedicated to Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. So last week I opened up my life, my business life, I should say, to all of you who follow me and watch me. And it was scary and it was very well received. So I have to tell you that I am super appreciative of all the wonderful comments that I received, thanking me for being vulnerable, thanking me for sharing all the private information I shared, and so many of you needed information that I provided. And so I'm just overjoyed with the response. I got a couple negative Nellies because you always do, but that's okay. I'm just gonna not worry about that, and I'm gonna keep going because based on the response I received, I know that what I'm doing is needed, and I know that it's helping somebody. And one of the things that people are most afraid about is to talk about money. And I think especially in business. One of the things that I wanted to address is that there were some people that said, I feel like this is going to help me determine if doing Stampin' Up! Or any other direct sales business is really worth it. And I have to say that that was a fear of mine. I was like, man, I hope people don't get, upset thinking now I'm showing you it's not worth it or something like that, because honestly, Stampin' Up! Has changed my life in so many ways, and I do not regret the decision at all to do this as a business, and we have profited from it financially, but we've also profited from it just, it has made me a better person. We get an awesome vacation to go on every year. I am more confident and better person all the way around because of Stampin' Up! And I know that sounds silly and weird, and why would working for a company, do you guys hear this? This is happening right now. I'm shooting a video and my dog comes in here and decides to start like making all kinds of grunting noises. Fantastic. Anyways, back to why I'm here. So I just hope that you know that my journey with Stampin' Up! Absolutely has been worth it. And it has provided endless amounts of joy to my life. So just know that. And the flexibility, there's lots of things I'm going to talk to you about today that can't have a dollar amount. And those are the things that I feel like need to be reminders. I have to remind myself of those so that on months where I'm having a slow sales month and maybe I'm not making as much of an income, I can remind myself that, you know what, there's no other job that I could get up in the morning, go into a bedroom in my house, and work as long as I feel like it. I technically don't have to work every day. Now, that being said, however much I put into this is what I get out of it, right? So if I take 2 weeks off and I didn't blog or YouTube or do anything, my sales are going to suffer as a consequence of that. And I recognize that. But at the same time, if I had to take that time away, I don't have to worry about losing my job. I don't have to worry about, the consequence of having a boss or a work environment. I love that there's some days where I get up in the morning and I might work 4 or 5 hours and be really super productive and then take a break for the rest of the day. Or I might not be able to work on Tuesday because I'm doing something for my daughter or with her, but then I just work on Saturday instead. And so there's a flexibility factor with this business that is unmatchable in my opinion, and it is worth a dollar amount. It's worth a value. How do you put a value on that? I'm not sure. I don't really have the answer to that question. So there's lots of things like that that are not monetary values that really do have a value. So you have to keep that in mind. Okay, the other question I got a lot was, if you're a brand new demonstrator, how would this apply to you? And so we are going to address that today in the new catalog budgeting form that I'm going to show you. That actually is a tool that was really created out of people like overspending when they are purchasing product, or new demonstrators maybe not understanding how to purchase in a way that's going to be beneficial to them. So that form is a free download, and I've linked to it below, and you can get that. And then I'm also going to give you a brief update on my paychecks and stuff like that, so you can kind of see how all of that works. There's no way I'm going to be able to answer all the questions in today's video that I've received over the last week. There's just not. But I have printed them. I have a file now that says demo questions, and I am keeping them. And as we go through every week, more and more of your questions will be answered. So if you're interested in purchasing the Stampin' Up! Business Budget Workbook, it is a download. It's $24.99. You can click in the link below the video here to purchase it. Each time I update it with new information, then you will receive those updates. So don't fret about having to purchase it again. It's just a one-time download. And let's see, other questions. I can't think of anything else right off the top of my head to address, but we are going to go over to my stamp table, and I'm going to lay everything out for you, and we're going to discuss how to purchase from a new catalog, what to purchase, why to purchase it, and then we're also going to touch very briefly on some of my budgeting stuff and paychecks that I've received over the last couple weeks, so that you can get caught up with some of what that looks like. Keep hanging with me every Thursday as we work through this process. You're going to see more and more information provided, and I hope that it's super useful for you. So thanks for tuning in. Let's go to my stamp table and work on some numbers. Okay, so here we are at my stamp table, and we are going to talk about some things today. So this, I want to just start out with, this is the free download. It's the new catalog ordering fun sheet. Now, obviously we have a ways to go till a new catalog, but I have a lot of questions that have been asked about what I could talk to a new demonstrator about. So or how I could help them with their business, because some of my expenses seemed really overwhelming to a lot of people. So we're going to talk a little bit about those in this video. We're going to do this sheet, and we're going to touch on just kind of like where I am at in my month and what I've been doing. So the new catalog ordering fun sheet I created actually with a new demonstrator in mind. Not necessarily somebody who just wants to have everything and purchase everything and is doing this purely as a hobby. If that's you, then you don't need to worry about staying on a budget unless you want to. So for me personally, I feel that having a budget for anything we do in life is important. So having a budget for what you're ordering, your supplies, or, you know, maybe it's for Christmas time, what you're going to spend on gifts. Having a budget in place is a really useful tool to help you save money. So, and it's also really useful to help you save money in the sense of not just overspending, but also getting the best bang for your buck. So we're going to talk about that. So obviously, you already know that purchasing the Stampin' Up! Starter Kit is the biggest savings for your money if you're just wanting to buy Stampin' Up! Product, because you get free product with that starter kit that you get to choose. So there's that, and that's kind of just an aside. So I used the Occasions catalog as my template for this, and I will print a new one of these and use it again in the new catalog. So the first page is just getting you thinking about why you're buying stuff. So what are my favorite products? So I have a list here of my 5 favorite products out of this catalog. What is my budget for this catalog? That's a question you need to ask yourself, and we'll address it on the next page. Can I sell 5 of each of these items I am purchasing? This is a question that's really important to ask yourself before you buy stuff. However, I'm in a full disclaimer, I'm really bad about following this rule, but it does work when I follow it. So you might be asking yourself, what do you mean, can I sell 5 of them? So for example, if I'm going to purchase the birthday cheer stamp set, what can I do to make sure I sell 5 of this bundle? What am I going to have in place? Am I going to have blog posts? Am I going to teach a class all with the birthday cheer stamp set, using it as a product-based class? What am I going to do to make sure that I sell at least 5 of these? Because then I've recuperated my cost of the stamp set, right? So that is kind of a quick overview of what I mean by that. Then over here I have paper must-haves. So if you don't do paper shares or paper samplers, then you can pick and choose what your very favorites are. You might coordinate it with these products, which we're going to talk about. So if you got the Sweetest Thing bundle, you're going to want the Sweetest Thing Designer Series paper, right? However, I do a paper sampler every catalog. So I'm just going to say, get it all. This is an expense for me, but I know that I need one of all of these so that I can create a sample for my sampler. That makes sense. Down here we have planned events and product I want to use. So actually I should add that paper sampler here. So my planned events are a spring retreat to go, January through May class to goes, 2 weekly blog posts and videos, a weekly Facebook Live, paper sampler. So yours might look very different. You might have something, and I'm just using this as an example. So this is for me, but yours might say 1 class per month, 1 team event per month, which I also do have that, but I don't design necessarily something separate for it. You might have something like 2 in-home classes, or also known as workshop, per month. So it gives you a gauge of what kind of products you need and how many of them. It's going to give you a view into that. Okay, so the next page is your budgeting. So let's say you're willing to spend $250 on the pre-order. So I've broken this into 2 categories. You have a pre-order and the catalog release. So I personally know that I always need to place a pre-order because I want to have those products early so that I can play with them, work with them, and get them ready to show so that when the catalog actually releases, I'm already getting orders. And so let's say you want to spend $250. So here's some recommendations I have for you. First of all, we all know, if you're a demonstrator, it's released to us and it's known when a pre-order is going to happen. So for example, our new catalog will release in June. So we know that our pre-order period is in May. So I could write that here if I want, May. So I know that I need to save $250 before May to have ready for this order. So that's where my envelopes come into play. Okay, I don't have one for pre-order or ordering yet, but I could make one. So you would have a envelope that says pre-order or order, and you would track it on the back by depositing money in it over the months so that you're saving for that big pre-order that's going to happen. Okay, so then when you put in that pre-order, you'll have all the cash you need. You can go to your bank, deposit the cash, and then place the pre-order. I never recommend using credit cards. I've talked a little bit about that before, but I don't believe in using credit cards for paying for stuff for your business. I do own credit cards only for the purpose of traveling and things like that. But ultimately, I think staying away from using credit cards is a really wise decision. You don't want to be getting a little bit of money every month and then turning around and having to pay a credit card bill with that. That's going to feel very defeating to you, and it's going to feel like you're not making progress or really earning money with your business. So save a little bit of cash aside, even if this has to come out of your personal income. Now, I'm going to explain that too. I've been asked several questions over the last week about how much money I spent in the beginning or how long I was basically in the negative with my business. And I will tell you that it took me about 2 to 3 years to start turning a profit with Stampin' Up. That is not unusual. I think that people who take the time to really break down their money and really recognize what's coming in and going out will know. First of all, I didn't own any Stampin' Up product whatsoever. When I purchased the starter kit, I literally had nothing. So I had to buy all the inks. I had to buy all the clear blocks. I had to buy the heat tool and the trimmers and the Big Shot and then of course all the things that go with those things. So I spent thousands of dollars in my first couple years with Stampin' Up just getting all my supplies. So just recognize that obviously you don't have to have everything at once. You can get it little by little. That is what I did. I would set aside $25, $30, $40 per paycheck and purchase things a little at a time. And when I would have a workshop or an event and I would get a little cash, that money went straight back into my business. So if you're brand new to this and you're feeling like I'm just bleeding money, yeah, that's probably normal in the beginning. Most business startups are that way. So I think one of the problems is people have an outlook on Stampin' Up like, oh, I'm going to sign up, I'm going to start a blog, and then I'm going to have all this money coming in. Not true. It takes a long time to build a valuable, good business. And so my suggestion to you is to be patient and recognize that it's going to take time. If you think that any direct sales, anything you do in life, a newborn baby isn't expected to walk. It's the same thing. So you can't expect yourself to be turning these huge profits from the moment that you start. Or any profit at all, really. I mean, like I said, it took me a really long time to start seeing an income. So be patient and recognize that this is something that you're investing in for the long term, that it's not a fly-by-night, seat of your pants kind of thing. Now, I will tell you this, you can turn a profit much quicker than I did if you are willing to do in-home classes and host classes at a venue or in your home or whatever. You definitely, using this workbook, this will help you earn money and have an income. It may not be steady, it may not be big, but you will begin to see an income much sooner because you are budgeting and planning. I was literally just throwing money at this business, and I don't have any idea how much I spent in the beginning. I don't have any idea how much I actually made in the beginning. I have no idea because I wasn't tracking any of those things. It's only over the last 4 years or so that I've started really tracking those things, and I can tell you pretty much to the dime where my money goes and what comes in. So anyway, back to this. Set yourself a budget, start saving for it, put it in an envelope, save in that envelope whatever, amount you want to save. And then when it comes time, place that one large order. So this is a huge tip for you. Do not place a bunch of small orders. You are losing out when you do that. If you place $50 order here, $100 there, $45 here, $50 there, it is much better to you, much better for your benefit to save your money and put in a large order because you're going to get host rewards. You're going to save on shipping, a huge amount of money on shipping. You are going to get to use those host rewards to further your business. So think about your team if you have a team. Think about your customers if you have customers. When you place that large order, if you've got money in your host rewards, use that to get gifts for your team members or for your customers, because then those items are free. You're paying tax and shipping, but I mean, ultimately, those items are free. So you'd be paying tax and shipping anyway. So that is part of the way that you can save some money with some of the other aspects of your business that we'll talk about over the coming weeks. Then when the catalog releases, you can place another order that you have designated an amount for. Obviously, here is where you're going to write in the items that you want and figure that out. And you might do something like write in all the items. It'll total 250, and maybe you draw a line and you start listing out other stuff that you might want, and then that carries over to this budget. But every catalog should have a budget associated with it. You should choose how much you're willing to spend and then stick to that budget. And that will help you feel like you're making an income, because you will be. You won't be turning around and purchasing something every time you see a cute idea on Pinterest. I know it's really tempting to do that, but instead of doing that, if you are trying to turn a profit, go look up the stamp sets that you've purchased on Pinterest and get them. My budget for this catalog was $250 in the pre-order. That is all I spent, and I stuck to it. And I did another $300 or $400 when the catalog launched. And since that time, I really haven't purchased anything else. I did purchase the new celebration items, and I did not have that amount of money budgeted. So I had to pull that money from my little savings stash that I have with my Stampin' Up stuff. So things like that come up, that does happen. But on the whole, I try really hard to stick to a plan and then execute that plan so that I am turning an income. Okay, so this video is getting really long, so I'm going to jump over here really quick. I wanted to quickly touch on my income and expense tracker here, because some things have happened since we talked last. So this is my sheet where I've filled in everything that I've earned, everything that I owe, plus the things that my income. And in this area, I have my weekly check from Stampin' Up and my PayPal amounts, and those aren't filled in yet because I don't know what they're going to be by the end of the month. So I'm just waiting to see what that turns out to be, and I'm just tracking it as I go. All these that you see highlighted here mean they have come out of my bank account. If it is, actually that one needs to be highlighted. So once it comes out of my bank account, I write in the actual amount, and then I take my highlighter and I highlight it, and I actually do it for this side too. I just haven't been very good about it. So Feed Blitz has come out, Paper Pumpkin has come out, Zoom, my SU blog, yeah, I think that's it. So DBWS still needs to come out. There's lots of stuff that still needs to come out, and it will. And so then I will highlight and kind of run my highlighter through. And I can mark this here too, actually. Okay, so on the next page, my weekly pay summary, this is where I'm tracking my weekly pay amount. So I was able to transfer $700 from PayPal back on February 8th as a payment to my checking account. I had $169.14 come in from Stampin' Up, and that was my regular weekly check. This last check was, well, I guess wouldn't be the last one. The one before last was $58.04. I'm recording this video before I've gotten paid on the 20th, so I don't know what that check will be yet. So as I go, I can then write in the expenses associated with that paycheck. They also get written down in here, in my checking register, or my PayPal register or my cash register. So I'm able to keep track of everything, what's coming in, what's going out, and able to know for sure where my money's being spent. So that's it for today. I'm not going to go too much more. Oh, you know what? This one is one I want to go over. So really quick, business expenses, annual and monthly business expenses. So GoDaddy, I pay every year. And so I would add the annual fee here. Vimeo, I pay, good Lord, I can't talk, every year. So I add that here. PicMonkey is a yearly fee. It's $33. DBWS is monthly, $12.95. And then I can add the due date here. As I continue filling this out, then I have a place where I can see every single expense that I have that's coming in and out of my business. And I can take this sheet out, and when I print this planner again for next year, I can take this sheet out and just move it to the following year if I don't have to make any adjustments to it. So it's a really good tool to have in that way. So this, I would just put February here because this is yearly. And my GoDaddy is also yearly. So some people asked, what are these things? Like, what is Tailwind? What is Flywheel? Okay, so Flywheel is my host for my blog. So that means that's where my hosting is, and I pay $15 a month to have hosting for my website. I pay $49 a month to Aweber. Aweber is an email marketing program. They are the same as MailChimp, Constant Contact. There's several out there on the market. I recommend going with MailChimp because it is free for your first 500 subscribers, or it used to be. So that is an option as well. I personally use Aweber because I knew somebody else who used it and she really liked it. And at the time it had the functionality for my website that I wanted. So that's why I ended up going with them. Tailwind is a scheduling program that helps me schedule my Pinterest pins, and it is $14.99 a month. So Switcher Studio is another one. That is the program that I use for doing my Facebook Lives. When you see me with my face, and then you see the hands, and then you see the little picture in the corner with my face still in it, that is from Switcher Studio. Now, a lot of these expenses you would not have if you were not running an online business. And a lot of them aren't even necessary with an online business. For years, I did not use Switcher Studio. I did not use Tailwind. So there's things that I've added over time as my business has grown. You don't have to do those things right in the beginning. Let's see. Yeah, my SU blog is another one. I use that to track or to add all of my supplies to my blog post. So that's another expense that I have coming out every month. So you can see how useful this sheet is, and I'm going to keep working on it and filling it in. I wanted to save it to fill it in with you because I wanted you to see how I'm doing it. But yeah, basically you just want to have a place where you can track all your monthly or annual expenses that are coming out of your account in one nice clean sheet. It's just a really nice thing to have. Okay, I think that's everything for this video. I've got enormous amounts of content to cover with you guys over the coming weeks because I'm getting questions, so many questions, and I'm loving it. So keep sending them, keep commenting and asking questions, and I will continue to provide the best information I know how to. Always remember, I am not a financial advisor. I am not a tax expert. I'm merely showing you how I organize and do my finances, and I hope that that helps you some. One more thing I wanted to mention in a new catalog to help you save money is if you're purchasing this stamp set or this stamp set and this punch, I recommend getting everything else in that suite. If you purchase products in a suite, then you're going to be able to make a ton of stuff using these products. So, I mean, this is a great example right here, is you can see all the different things Stampin' Up! Has made using just these products. So I highly recommend purchasing in a suite. That will also help you save money and energy trying to match and pair things. Okay, I think that's everything. I hope you have an awesome day. I hope this video helped you. If you want to purchase the business budget workbook, it is linked in the description below the video. This is a free download. Also, please know you're supposed to receive an email with your downloads linked. So look out for that email. It will look like a receipt, but at the top it'll say downloads, and you click on the links and you can download it. You also should be taken to a screen that has the downloads. I've been having some problems with my system that I use for checking out and all of that. So if you have a problem, feel free to email me after you make the purchase and I will just shoot it over to you. Also, I have an exclusive page and email sign up so that if you've purchased these items, you can get those emails when I do updates. And that's all provided once you purchase the workbook. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you soon.